additional information I just handed out. One of the requirements of the grant was a $5,000 match for all participating localities, which Amelia is one. Unfortunately for us, we didn't have a quorum in December to actually approve this. So the grant has been awarded, and we need to go ahead and approve our contribution of $5,000 as the local cash match. Anybody's got any questions about it, I'd be more than happy to speak to it. As you can see, we've already gotten an invoice. There's a memorandum of agreement that establishing the Central Virginia Poultry Cooperative and the CRC list as to what they're going to be doing and aid to help with the startup. And they're already incorporated. The Tobacco Commission has given them a $1.4 million grant to start things off. I was hoping to have an update from several of the board members, cooperative board members for you this morning, but it's been one of those days and I didn't get to get the latest. I can tell you where they were last week. So what we're asking for today is approval of the $5,000 contribution. And again, it's not something that's completely late that anybody forgot about. It was just that we didn't have a board meeting in November and did not put it on the January docket.
Okay. All right, anybody have any questions for Taylor about the grant, the $5,000?
Have all the other counties?
Yeah.
So we just need a motion.
Yep.
All right, I would make a motion to approve the $5,000 for the CRC, whatever it is called, the AFID grant, that we would approve that.
All right. Did it have a second?
Second.
Winston, thank you. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Both right side? Okay. We still don't have,
Oh,
there
yeah,
he is.
we got Neil here.
Okay. Snuck up on us. All right, Neil.
You're muted, buddy.
You're muted.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. Just give you an update on the two grant applications we have for the Richardson Road, site development there. The Go Virginia grant, as you recall, was approved by the Region 3 Go Virginia Council and is awaiting the final approval at DHCD. They had requested a couple of modifications to the structure of the grant. So the grant now will actually go to the Commonwealth Regional Council for the administration, and then the plan is for basically a sub-grant to the county. And so the county would engage the engineers, B&B engineers, and get reimbursed from the CRC council, who in essence will get reimbursed from the state. So that's the process there. The state wanted some sort of active involvement from a regional entity, and that's the reason for that there. We're just discussing some logistics about ensuring that the B&B consultants, engineers would be procured or have been procured through the appropriate process. So once we get that little glitch worked out, we should be good to go and, on to the contract negotiations and there. Time frame, I would hope that it won't take any more than 30 days to work out these little glitches, but working with DHCD, sometimes it's hard to tell there. The grant application we had before the Virginia Economic Development.
Could I ask you a question?
Sure, go ahead.
On the Go Virginia grant, so we will expend our funds and then we will apply for reimbursement from the CRC, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Did you tell me that they do that on a quarterly basis?
That is correct. Yeah.
All right,
So-
I don't really see a problem on the Go Virginia grant, but if they do the same thing with the EDP grant, I can see problems.
Okay. The exposure on the Go Virginia grant is $100,000. So, roughly you're looking at $25,000 of cash out, at any point in time.
Right.
On the VEDP grant, the application was submitted. They have the sort of the next step in the process is to do a virtual site tour. And it's a 30-minute presentation of the characteristics of the site and the application that we have before VEDP and their consultants. That is now scheduled for March 11th at 3:30 in the afternoon. Again, that'll be virtual. It's only a 30-minute presentation, so it's pretty short. We're developed the presentations. Once that is been presented, they will evaluate the applications and let us know whether we would be awarded the grant. Just to summarize, the grant was for $550,000 in 3 components: clearing and grubbing of the site, the signage at the front of the property, and the entrance permit off of 360. So we're looking at those 3. The entrance permit is about $140,000. The signage is $50,000, and the clearing and grubbing is $380,000. So that, there, 360. I'm sorry. There. If we're granted that award, typically it's a reimbursement as well as you progress through it. I am uncertain about whether, how they do their, drawdowns, and for that, the match requirement has been, met so that there isn't any issue there.
I think I asked before, do you think the VEDP grant is going to be issued the same way through the CRC?
It won't be issued through CRC. It would be direct contract with the county in this case.
All right.
And so that, delay in reimbursement would be there. Whether they do their reimbursement on a monthly or quarterly basis, I'm not sure at this juncture there.
Any other questions for them? Okay,
All righty, good enough.
thank you, sir. Demolition update. We got, I guess that's the RFP, Taylor?
Yes, sir. The Jeff Bond had been working on that, and I think I've mentioned several times that the RFP is being fine-tuned and be ready to be released at any point in time. We've changed up on that just a little bit. We realized that there's a very minimal amount of asbestos in there. So they're going to break it into projects. They're going to get a asbestos abatement RFP out on the street to get that taken care of. And then they can have a general contractor come in to do the major demolition. We don't need any specialists. Jeff thinks that he can get them written and out on the street. So they're done almost simultaneously. It won't be any great delay. So we're in the, I know it's dragging on a little bit, but we're really not holding any progress up. We're not ready to go with site development, but this is holding things back. So I think by early springtime, we'll probably go by there and we've got nothing but some ground and the debris the buildings and the debris will all be gone.
On the original part, they're gonna take your buildings down and do a little grading, like an acre or so on the front. Is that what we're putting out for RFP?
I think that's pretty close to the way it'll be. We can't just bulldoze the buildings and load them up and leave it like that. We'll have to stabilize the soil and do some things like that. So it'll be presentable by the time we're done with it.
Parking lot sites hanging on the front. Okay, any other questions? We go to the animal shelter.
Animal shelter, we had a meeting in here yesterday with Jeff Bond, fellow from B&B Engineering, Daryl Brady, David, and Brian. And this was basically the final review of the plans and specs. We've determined, and B&B has done a great job with this, they're only going to disturb 98/100ths of an acre. And because they've kept it under one, that means we don't have to do any type of a stormwater retention pond or something
Right.
like that. We'll certainly be heavily involved with E&S, but the stormwater is out. They designed a building that is not going to look industrial. We tried to get them to come up with something that the neighbors driving up and down the road wouldn't be something that would just really stick out to them. It's going to have a brick front, composition shingle roof, graded parking lots. It's going to have some pavement. Around the back, it'll look a little more industrial because that's where the work will be going, but done a pretty good job to make something that I think won't be offensive to the neighborhood. It's the total building size is 5,254 square feet. Of that, 4,134 square feet are conditioned space. The conditioned space is obviously where the employees will be and the workers will be, but also a great deal of the animal space is conditioned. I've asked them to come up with a ratio of animal space to office and common area. And he didn't want to give me that off the top of his head, but I'm expecting that before too long. The big number is $1,950,000. That is his estimate that the architect and the engineers working together have determined that this project is going to cost us $1,950,000. And we'll see that, we'll see how that works out. That does not include the site, but it does include the site work.
Well, since we're moving it back toward right off the road, there should be some opportunity there to put some trees there or something to sort of block it too.
I think, Brady, do you remember anything about landscaping? I know they mentioned it, but I didn't. It's going to be done, but I didn't get the idea as to what it was supposed to be.
As of right now, just in the contract, I think there's drought resistant landscaping around the building. I don't think there was any discussion of any buffer trees or anything.
That's exactly right. And the drought resistant landscaping was going to be used because the question was, do you all want to put an irrigation system in? The answer to that is no. And then we'll survive.
Get another $1 million.
So one thing we don't know is what size the entire site that will need to be deeded off to the county. We don't know the acreage on that yet. But that's one of the next things that they'll be doing. We do know that the drain field is not going to be something that we're going to recommend the EDA deed away because if you remember, it's on the other side of the drainage area. and we'll just work with an easement there, which is standard industry practice.
Now, this sounds like an immediate thing, something that we're gonna do even before the park opens up.
Well, that's a good question. The timing on it would be that the proposal is ready, and I guess it's going to go to the planning commission. It's going to take a look at it through the CIP program, be forwarded to the board of supervisors. And if the board of supervisors accepts this and says, we're going to fund it, we'll know by the end of April. So at the end of April, if we know that we're going to have funding available July the 1st, then we can expect to see RFPs and different things out on the street.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that the EDA would deed the property over to the county, that portion of it, before the construction started. In case something goes wrong, we don't want it on the EDA's ledger. We'll let the county take care of that.
Good question. I think when I've talked to the board of supervisors, I think they're hot to get that done. You got more dominoes that are gonna fall in place after that stuff.
Yeah, well, that was my idea too. That was something that would be,
So we would sell them whatever land they need,
Yeah, we just,
That's right.
or we would lease it,
Yeah, we'll deed it over to them.
deed it over.
some kind of way. And yesterday, it was apparent that where the building is going to set, there's not going to be any extra room down below us towards the creek.
Right.
So this property will go all the way down to the creek. And there will be land left up on the corner next to 360.
right,
There won't be anything on the back bottom that we can work with.
right. All right,
But that'll be the only thing that'll exit off of Richardson Road.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That is the plan unless the EDA was to approve something different, but the intentions going in is to have, the traffic in and out on 360.
okay, anything else?
I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Let's go to the marketing.
Okay.
Brady, we getting anything off of LinkedIn?
16 connections. So we're picking up a little bit. We're following multiple economic development associations. Henrico, Chesterfield, of course, the BDP. So we sort of get to see what they're doing, what posts they're making. And then hopefully we.
Morning, Mr. Jones. Good.
Hopefully we can start getting some photography and some graphics done to start posting some of our own stuff about what we have available, particularly for this site once things take off.
Okay.
Since the additional Conroe Park is pretty maxed out, we definitely want to post once we get underway with demolition, maybe start posting some updates about this new Conroe Park to let people out there that we're connected to and anybody else on LinkedIn know that there's going to be available area for them to lease. So.
Tell me about the opportunity for this virtual site visit back in March, this is coming up March, and being able to use some of that as far as the marketing to the whole site.
You'll maybe.
Yeah, we'll have a PowerPoint presentation, and I'm getting graphic design folks to do, dress it up a little bit so it'll look as professional as possible. So any of the material that is generated for that can be used as part of the, can be uploaded on your website or used in marketing as you see fit.
I didn't know if we were gonna try to get some drone footage at the area or not.
Right now, I'm just using some, photographs that are available, and Brady was kind enough to go out on Friday afternoon and take a couple of shots. Because of the the tree cover, a lot of the area, particularly right behind the Emerson's Antique, doesn't show very well right now, and that's the reason why we've got application in to clear and grub that so you can take, so it'll be, more marketable. At some point in time, I would recommend that y'all take a look at LoopNet and CoStar. Those are two of the primary commercial websites that folks use to search commercial property. So
CoStar, what's the other one?
LoopNet,
Spell it for me, the net one.
LoopNet.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Any more questions for Brady or Neil about the? We've still got the problem with the Amelia Commerce Park. If you Google it, you go directly to the R.J. Smith site.
We submitted when you type in Amelia Commerce Park, it comes up with Amelia Business Park. Amelia Business Park is the 10 lots that R.J. Smith owns. The Amelia Commerce Park is the broader area that DDA had originally developed there. We've suggested an edit on Google Maps, and we've reached out to Google's SEO team to see if they can make a designation. So, but at this time, we haven't been successful.
Mhm.
So it's one of those things where R.J. Smith's probably paying for some search engine optimization. And because of that, it's recognized, it's picked it up as Amelia Business Park. And so even when you search Amelia Commerce Park, search engine's directing you to Amelia Business Park. But it's a little confusing. Of course, it's confusing because 10 of the lots is Amelia Business Park, R.J. Smith. And in some of the other areas, either owned by other individuals or county owned, but technically in the Amelia Commerce Park.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll keep working on it. It probably will take getting on a phone with somebody that's a representative of Google working in some foreign country and talking to them for 3 or 4 hours until we can get it from person to person and get something done. But
Yeah.
we have gone through the electronic channels and submitting suggested edits, requesting something to change.
Okay. Thank you for doing that. Tourism partnership, that you or Brady?
Want to speak about our conversation with Roxanne?
I guess I wasn't able to attend January's meeting. Did y'all discuss some that day briefly?
It's very brief.
Roxanne and I haven't gotten back together. I'm sure she's as busy as I've been. The goal is the ultimate goal is to get access to the Act. That's the ultimate goal.
Yep.
We have a incredible natural amenity that runs along the entire northeastern border of the county that we really don't have any public access to. Now, if I showed up with my wife and kids to Taylor's property and said, "Can I cross through your property and use the river?" I know he'd let me do it, but in terms of everybody having a place they can go to that's nice, that's safe, where they can land their kayaks, canoes, whatever, do some fishing and then get out, that's the goal. We had been talking about that here internally, and so it was really, I think, a positive note when Roxanne reached out to us without her knowing. We had talked about it and said, "Hey, we're looking at doing the same thing on our side." Now, our section of border with Powhatan is nowhere near as large as our border with Chesterfield is along the Appomattox River. So that's the goal. Working towards that goal and getting it done is probably going to be a sizable staff effort. And that's where we are at. We just have to try to work through that effort. One of the biggest concerns is maintenance down the road. We have 15 public works employees that currently cut 35 acres a week of grass during the summertime. And they also do all of our wastewater system. They do all of our cleaning of all of our buildings, fixing light bulbs, everything. So 15 people manage that right now. So adding landing management to them, gravel, grass cutting, trash. We're really not staffed. I don't think Powhatan is gonna want to manage Amelia's side landings either. So what we're gonna need to do is see if we can't maybe work with Department of Wildlife Resources with state and see if they're willing to funnel some resources that direction for maintenance. So that's gonna be a big hurdle once we get there. And then, of course, the other big hurdle is actually gonna be getting easements from property owners to do this, to make this effort.
That's gonna be a big.
And that's gonna take some time. But that's what we're looking at, and hopefully using that natural amenity, that river, to generate some tourism, to get people coming into Amelia. And not just people coming into Amelia, but people in Amelia able to enjoy the outdoors.
I think what you need to look, suggest you look into getting some corporate sponsors too. Down the lower Appomattox, they got Dominion, they provide cleanup twice a year or something. And some other people, maybe Corey over here would be willing to jump in there. I think that's what carries the Friends of the Lower Appomattox is all the corporate sponsors.
But I think it's been about 2 months since we met with Roxanne, so we'll just cycle back with her and see if we can't get going, maybe try to get the state on a call for the DWR and then go from there. And hopefully this type of project, you really hope it's a 20-year endeavor where you create a connection and then another connection, and then down the road, instead of just having a 1.5 mile or 2 mile float, you ultimately get it to where someone could maybe, float a dozen miles down the river or more.
Yeah.
Is really what you'd like. So we'll see.
It's taken a long time, but I think the Polar has finally gotten a trail from Osher Dam, Petersburg, all the way to the other side of Hopewell.
Okay.
And that took a lot of finagling and getting people to give the right of ways and all this stuff. Okay. The next item is Ms. Bullock's replacement for the EDA. I've been asked by the Board of Supervisors to provide some names. 2 names I've come up with are people that have served previously, Ms. Booker and Mr. Townsend. And anyone else have any people they would like to suggest?
I'd like to suggest Sam Arrington. Sam Arrington.
Okay. This will be to fill the unexpired term, which will have to be redone next year. Term expires in June in 2025. So it'll only be a year. I think, all right, anybody else have any suggestions? All right. Do we want to put forth the 3 names? Let the board of supervisors make choice anyway. I think we need to get in touch with them and just put a little blurb together so I have something in the packet for the supervisors to look at. Of course, the 2 that have already served probably already know something about them. Still wouldn't hurt. Sam, I'm sure he didn't have any problem doing it.
Okay.
You talked to Sam about that?
Not seriously, but
Okay.
floated the idea. I just think he's a very good businessman and a very,
Before we submit his name, why don't you
all right, I'll forward.
call him and let Taylor know.
Yeah.
And tell him he needs to give a little bio or something.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. All right, why don't we vote on that? We're gonna submit 3 names for Bill Carlin's expired term. Submit Sam Harrington, Jackie Booker, and Walt Townsend. You want to let our fearless leaders decide which one. I don't think we have to have a vote on that, do we, Mr.?
I think I can see a consensus.
Okay.
Things be forwarded. So
All
I think
right.
we're okay.
All right, now we're going to go into closed session. 2.2, 3711A5, discussion concerning a prospective business or industry or the expansion of an existing business or industry where no previous announcement has been made of the business or industrial interest in locating or expanding its facilities in the community. Do I have a motion for that? Go into closed session.
Motion.
Winston. Robert, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign.